Have you fully thought what you can do with your camera that's been sitting in your cupboard, or how you can even start a business out of it? You have a camera, you're looking to get into photography, and this is how you do it in 2025. It's not easy, but you can do it. Starting a photography business in 2025 is hard. Here's why. Step by step, I'm going to show you exactly how you can start a photography business in 2025. First off, you're going to need something to shoot with, so you're going to need a camera. So this is where it's going to get harder to narrow down which kind of camera you want, what cameras are best for beginners, etc. But I'm going to help you with that. So the first step to this step is choose your budget. What do you have in mind for a budget? What can you afford right now? Do you have a full-time job that can maybe help you out with that? Do you have some savings? Do you have an old camera like laying around that maybe you want to pull it? These can all be factors on deciding which camera to choose. Now, as far as the brand, I personally don't think that it's going to matter in the beginning. As long as you pick a brand and you get used to it, later down the road you can maybe play with a few others once you have a bigger budget, or you've created a community where you can try each other's cameras out, or you can rent a few. This is all up to you, but I personally don't think it really matters as long as you know how to navigate your own camera. So, how to decide on what gear to pick. So, we have to figure out what kind of we want to shoot. We don't really have to know a whole lot, but it makes a big difference if you're doing like landscapes and animal portraits, that kind of stuff, compared to people. So, people, animals, hiking, that kind of stuff, two very different kind of lenses that you're going to invest in. You have a couple options here, so you can fully invest into a camera and a lens, or you can go to a local store that rents out cameras and gear, and you can try a few different options while you're kind of playing around with it. So in this first stage, you're going to be doing a lot of like free shoots for your friends, your family, and this is just to gain experience and get you comfortable in front of the camera anyway. So renting out and experimenting with different lenses and cameras, this will be the time to do it because you're not charging anybody for your services. So you could definitely go with a crop frame. So in the beginning, that's what I started with. I actually started with a Nikon Z50, and I started with the kit lens, and then a 70 to 250 3.5 zoom, I believe, or 4.5. I don't use those anymore, but that's what I started out with, and then I quickly upgraded to a 35mm Nikkor 1.8 lens, and that honestly changed my entire photography, and it inspired me so much as soon as I got this lens that I love just creating portraits and couples and just love shooting anything with it. So it was a game changer when I upgraded the lens. So don't worry about too much on what body you're getting in the beginning, but more focused on the lens that you're using. So there's different kinds of cameras where the lens detaches and the ones that are fixed lens and they're stuck on the camera essentially. So you want to keep an eye out for that when you're looking for some too, because you don't want the one that's going to be stuck on the camera. You want a camera that's going to be able to switch out different lenses so you can kind of play around with them. The second thing you want to look for in this camera is an SD card. So different cameras have different ways of storing the photos when you take them. So you want to make sure that it has like a little SD card. Like this little guy right here. So I personally use the SanDisk Extreme Pros. I use the 200 megabytes a second because this is going to keep up with all those candid, fast moments. If you're doing sports photography like cars or anything that's fast moving, you're gonna wanna make sure you have the higher megabytes per second SD cards. So I personally like these because they're small, compact, they're more affordable. So some cameras will have the CF slot as well, but those can be a big dent in the bank, and especially if you don't really know what you want yet. I would definitely opt out for looking for SD cards too. There is a few other like ones that have different brands and they're a little bit slower, but this is the one that has been my good old trusty for the past like 2.5 years. So I've had no problems with this, knock on wood. But yeah, I highly recommend the SanDisk when starting out as well. It's going to give you a lot better of experience, especially with the higher megabytes per second, so that when you're coming into issues, sometimes you'll be like, oh, my camera can't keep up with how fast I'm clicking the shutter, and that could be for a few different reasons, with the SD card being one of the main ones. That's a whole new video that I will get into, is going into all the camera specs, but let me know if you guys want to hear like anything about like cameras, or you want to learn anything certain about them, and I will answer it in a new video for you. But for now, get a fast SD card, even crop sensor camera. This one can be any brand you want. The crop sensors are going to be more affordable and more budget friendly, or rent out a camera, full frame, crop frame, whatever you feel in that moment, and experiment with them. Try out a few different lenses, figure out which ones you like. My 35mm has literally been my little bestie for the past like 3 or 4 years, and it still is. I honestly love it. I love the focal length on it. I'm actually shooting on it right now, so it's a beautiful, versatile lens that is great for beginners. And I still use it today, but I also use other lenses. Also, that's a whole new video, so if you wanted to see a whole video about lenses and focal lengths and a little bit more about that, I'll actually leave the link in the description, and I'll also leave like a little thing here. Maybe I can do that. And I go over all the lenses that I've used and why I like them, and as a wedding photographer, how I use them. So now that you have the gear, so you've rented out the gear, you've bought the gear, you've pulled it out of your cupboard, you wanna learn how to use it. So you wanna get super comfortable with how to use this camera. You want to learn the manual settings. You don't wanna put it in that green automatic mode, because the camera has no idea what you want to achieve. This is the biggest thing about photography. Personally, I am on the manual side. There's some photographers out there that probably prefer the automatic, and that is totally okay, but for me, I like to know what to tell my camera what to do. So if I want a blurry photo where the kids are running around mom and dad, and I want mom and dad to be in focus, my camera's not gonna know that. It's not gonna pick up what's in my brain and just automatically output those settings. So it's gonna be a photo like this, and this is the settings I used, but my camera doesn't know that. So I manually have to adjust it with my own bare hands on my bare camera, and adjust the ISO, the shutter, and the aperture all together by myself. So we're gonna get really comfortable with adjusting those 3 things. And personally, I don't like to use it on my screen. So there's buttons usually on your camera body that you can use. So mine is, okay, so for my second body, I'm just gonna show you here. So getting comfortable with my camera, I know how to use this really fast, so in case like super fast moments come and I need to adjust my like settings super fast, so like if it's super blown in and super bright, I need to know how to quickly bring it back down. So like say during a champagne pop or something, I need to quickly change my settings. I actually have a good example of this past weekend. I was like, oh, just wait 1 second. Like I was just like adjusting my settings, but then she started going with the champagne pop, but I knew exactly how to adjust my settings very, very, very quickly. So I was able to go from this raw photo to this one in a matter of seconds, because I knew how to adjust my settings. So right here, so I'm gonna show it on. So ISO, and then moving in this style, actually adjust the ISO. Without clicking the ISO, it actually adjusts the shutter speed for me. And then I have another dial back here, and that adjusts my aperture. So those 3 work together to set my exposure, set my settings, everything that I need to quickly adjust my settings from here. So those are gonna be the 3 main components that you're gonna learn in the beginning. There's definitely a few more that you can learn, and that's also probably a whole new video if you guys want, but learn those 3 things while you're playing around with your camera. And what I just showed you there was my Nikon Z6 II. I'm currently shooting on my Nikon Z7 II. So I'm a Nikon Z series girly, so anything that you watch with my videos are likely going to be Nikon. So if you're not a Nikon person and you're more of a Canon person, I would definitely recommend like just like YouTubing some different ones, but I will definitely be confident in showing you everything Nikon Z series. Okay, and the way that you're going to be able to practice these settings and learn them is shoot for free. I cannot stress this enough. The first few weeks or the first month, or honestly, however long it takes you to get comfortable using your camera, that's how long you're gonna shoot for free. This might be a controversial thing in the whole photography world that people say, don't shoot for free, shoot for free. There's a few reasons why I envy this so much and I tell people to do this, because number one being, you have no idea what the heck you're doing, so you should not be charging people if you have no idea what the outcome's gonna be. So you don't know how these photos are gonna turn out, you don't know the post-processing of it, you don't know how you're gonna edit it. So personally, I wouldn't want to pay somebody to not know what they're doing. I usually pay people because they know what they're doing. So eventually you're going to work up to being able to charge people, but the whole point of shooting for free right now is to actually gain experience. So if you want to make money, you have to sacrifice shooting for free to do that, because you are not working to get money right now. You are working for the experience to be able to work up to that. And a lot of people are exchanging their time for this shoot, so this is more beneficial for you. So you need to get out of the mindset of, oh, I need to get paid to do this because I'm doing work. Switch the tables around, honestly. Like, people are donating their time so that you can practice on them, because not a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, no problem, I'll take an hour or a few hours out of my day to drive there, so they're spending gas money too. They probably got like cute outfits. They're donating their time, and time is money. We know that. So they are actually sacrificing some of their time, their money, to be able to show up for you. So they are doing you the favor. You are not doing them the favor. And then I want you to practice on these photos. So it's not only about like shooting, but you need to figure out how you're going to post-process all of these photos while you're shooting for free. So how do you want to edit them? What's your timeline with it? I want you to get good at communicating with clients. This entire shooting for free, you need to gain the experience of becoming a professional and stepping inside a professional's shoes. So you want to gain insights. You want to ask your clients how you can make a better experience. You want to gain reviews. You want to do all of the things in this free period to gain any experience that you were hoping to get. So during this whole shooting for free process, you're going to find that shit can get messy. It can get absolutely chaotic. Your schedule can get all messed up. So during this whole shooting for free experience thing, you're going to find people are going to contact you in different ways to book these shoots. What does your typical job look like? Do you have a set schedule? Are you finding lighting time? So like, are you shooting people all day, every day? Are you shooting every weekend? Are you shooting just in the evenings? Did you know about the daylight savings time, that the daylight in the winter, you have to start at least at like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. because the sun goes down so early. But in the summer, like if you want that golden hour look, you can start at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So there's so much different things. So obviously like shooting a full year round might not be that, it's just not like doable unless you're like doing maybe like one a month or something. But if you want to make this a full-time thing or switch it into a side hustle where you can actually make money from it, you're gonna have to like learn these little things, and you're gonna learn them as you go. So the first year is probably gonna be the hardest, and this will be the first year will be where you learn absolutely like a shit ton of stuff. So about your camera, about lighting, about booking, about like the back end of things, editing, all that fun stuff. That's year one. Year one is crazy. So if you can make it past year one, you've got a pretty good chance of making it a few more years. Okay, now that we've practiced a little bit and we've built up a little bit of a portfolio, so you've figured out how to like maybe send up these photos, you've done a little bit of research as like different scenarios come up, different problems, you want to build a social presence. So using all of the photos that you had just taken, so whether it be for the last like month or a couple weeks, however long it took you to get comfortable with the camera and with clients, you're going to start an Instagram page or a Facebook page, whichever one you're comfortable with. I personally started off with an Instagram page, and that's how my business had a really good start to it. I got very, very lucky And I did work really hard for it. So luck wasn't really luck, but I worked really hard for it. So I built that portfolio. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram, those photos are still there. You will see exactly. I'll post one photo at a time. I was trying to make the cute little Instagram feed and like do like 3 at a time. It was, I don't know, I thought it was super artsy doing that, but now I realize that doesn't matter. But so I built a social presence on Instagram first. So how I did this, I started a new page and I made sure it was a business page. So make sure that it's not a personal page and that it's a business page, because this is going to be important for your analytics. So you can bring in a lot of insights from that. So what are your top posts? What's performing well? What's getting reach to different followers or non-followers? And then I want you to start posting on it. So I want maybe your first post to be a little bit of an introduction. So this is a little insight for me as a photographer. So when I go to other photographers' pages or business pages, and so I can clearly see what they do, and that's it. So I know what they do. So maybe they make like crochet blankets or something, and like I kind of see they're in my area. Maybe I see some other people following them, or like maybe it's another photographer and I see like their work a little bit. I'm like, oh, I recognize their location. That's like around me. But if I go to their page and I don't know their name, I don't know where they're from, I honestly know nothing about them. All it says is like DM to book or like DM to do this. I'm most likely going to be less supportive if I don't know who it is. So really try to show your face and like who you are, or like add your name in there. Maybe like tag your like personal Instagram so like people can find you through like there and just be like, oh yeah, I do follow this other person and I know who it is. That's awesome. They're starting a photography business. So make sure that you're including your name and where you're from. So that's another thing that I struggle with, is going to people's pages and like having to dig to figure out like where they're from or like what area they're in, because I have now people from like all over the world. So I'm like, are they local? Like, do they live like around the corner from me? So as a business, this is like key information that I love to see like on your page. And if I know you, the chances of me like supporting your business are going to be a lot higher than me just like supporting a blanket, you know? I'm a personal brand person, like girly, so I love like seeing people's like personal brand implemented into their businesses. So please include your name and your location. So maybe the first post is a little blurb with your face on it. I'm a big face person too, because sometimes I'm so bad with names, but post your face, like post on your stories, post the first grid post as like a little introduction of who you are, why you started the business, what you've been up to. And then I want you to share all of those free photo shoots that you've been doing, that you've asked your friends to do, your family, you've asked like different people, and you've gotten comfortable enough to maybe start doing like a little free promo. So what I did, started my Instagram, and I actually posted on my personal Instagram to ask people to donate their time to come get free shoots for me in exchange for free photos. So I did that on my personal Instagram before I actually ever started my business one, and then I transformed into my business one, but I would repost like my posts from my business Instagram onto my personal Instagram, so that like people were still like kind of like converting over there, because like, oh, it's like, okay, here's like a little metaphor. So it's like so there's a big like crowd, right? Okay, you're like in a concert and they like throw a t-shirt at you, none of the t-shirt toss things that they throw at you. So you have this big crowd and they throw a t-shirt at you, just one, that's it. How many people are gonna like touch that t-shirt? Maybe 4, right? So, but if you like threw another one out there, there's gonna be 2 out there, maybe 3. So there's gonna be a whole bunch that's gonna impact different parts of like the crowd. So that's your audience right there, is the crowd. And if you only post it one time, there's all those other people that didn't get to like notice it, like they didn't know it was there. So if you keep throwing it in a few different areas, people are going to talk about it and it's going to start spreading and your whole audience is going to know. So don't just throw it in there one time and expect a difference. Keep posting it. Keep reposting it on your stories. Keep reposting it on your feed. Like, keep sharing the damn thing. So whether it's you're providing free photo shoots, or maybe now you're like, you know, I'm pretty confident I'm going to charge like $40. That's what I started with. So I started charging $40 for shoots. Yeah, I think it was 40. And some people will like maybe even give you like a little bit of a tip if you're doing it for free. But the point is to get that experience and kind of get your name out there a little bit and start building awareness that you're even doing photography. So the following count doesn't matter. Don't worry about your following. Just worry about posting what you love. So posting all of those free sessions and getting comfortable, which is the process of being online, being an online presence.
With this online presence, if you want to like be ahead of like 90% of the people, I'm just making that number up because it's so high, but if you want to be ahead of like most other photographers starting right now, build a website. Honestly, building a website is going to be absolutely game changer, especially when you're starting. So if you're, okay, put yourself in like someone else's shoes, like maybe you found this new business and you're creeping their page, there's no links, there's not really a whole ton of information other than like the bio and then like whatever you see there. So you have to DM them like if you want to book a session or you want to know what the prices like are, like all this stuff, like all this information that people want to know, where you're from, who you are, your portfolio, what you charge, where you're from, I don't know, I said that already, like, but all this information, instead of just trying to jam pack it into like an Instagram page or a Facebook page, build a website. It can be the most basic website and you're still gonna be ahead of like everyone else that's like starting photography right now. So I personally use Show It. It is a little bit more complex of a software system, but there's templates that you can buy and you just have to adjust your images. But if you want a little bit more simple one, you can go with like Squarespace, Wix. I personally use Squarespace. It's really good. It's super user friendly, so that's a really good beginner website. That's what I used in the beginning. I can link that in the description if you guys want to see some Show It templates and stuff like that. But yeah, so get ahead of the game and like just post, like it can be so simple. It can literally take you maybe like one day to create this website for like I just can't stress it enough. It is literally the biggest thing. I wish I did it sooner. It literally took me like maybe a year to get it and I wish I did it sooner because then I would have so much less DMs. I would have like a better professional service already. Like I would be more professional. I would have that website. I would have that contact form in there and have all that. So systematize your photography. Learning the back end stuff is going to be the biggest part about actually starting a photography business. If you want this to be a successful side hustle or a successful almost going into full-time thing, build a website. So simple. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just a link that someone can click that's on your page where they can read about you, where you're from, what you charge, what your availability is like, or a contact form. One of those two. Now that we've built your social presence and we've got you on the internet, we've got you posting some of your portfolio work, we maybe got your website. As you're building your website, you're probably wondering, where the heck can I get a contact form and like, what is that? I use Honeybook. So Honeybook is a CRM, so a client relations management system that just holds all of your clients in one spot where you can send contracts, invoices, you can collect their contact information through that contact form and you can embed it into your website. So if you go to my website and go to the Inquire tab, you will see that there's a contact form on there. And so when somebody fills out that contact form, they actually it gets brought into my Honeybook and I get a little notification in my Honeybook. So it does send me an email when I get a new inquiry, but it's not the inquiry itself because it's actually in my Honeybook system. Are you guys following? I know like if you're beginning, this probably all sounds like so crazy, so new, and kind of sounds like gibberish, but let me know if you have any questions. I'm so happy to answer them. I want you to succeed in 2025 with photography. So now that we've covered all of like the basics and how to get started and just wiggle your way into photography for 2025, I want you just to continuously build on that. You're going to continuously reevaluate your business. You're going to take advantage of the slow seasons. You're going to update your website. You're going to update your pricing. You're going to keep educating yourself and just keep thriving your business over there. I'm 4 years into business and I'm still doing the exact same thing. So if you want to learn more about how to start a photography business or where I am and how to educate yourself a little bit more, feel free to follow my channel, hit the subscribe button and support me a little bit if you can. And I'm super excited to see what you do with this information in your photography photography business in 2025.